Hello friends, welcome you all. In the last lecture we have discussed the sectoral growth of Indian economy, and we have discussed the share of GDP by different three important sectors of the economy: agricultural sector, service sector, and industry. Then we have discussed in the last lecture the share of employment by sectors. So we have discussed with graph that in the 1950-51 the employment share of agriculture was 72.4%. Then it continuously declined till 2018-19. And the service sector share in the employment was continuously rising. That is the share of service sector is continuously increasing with the period of time, and relatively industrial sector remains stable or slightly increased the share of employment. So in the last lecture also we have seen the state of the Indian economy in 2018-19, 2019-20. We have compared with the growth rate. Then again we have discussed the GDP by sectors: agricultural sector, industrial and service sector, the contribution in the GDP, and again we have compared the labor force dependent on that particular sector by its occupation. So compared to agricultural contribution, that is 15.4%, agricultural the dependent of labor workforce is 44% on 15.4% contribution by agricultural sector. Then if we look the industrial sector, in industrial sector comparatively have a stable, that is it is contributing to the GDP only 23%, and dependent of labor force is 25%. And in case of service sector, the labor force is that much comparatively other two sectors is relatively higher, 61.5% contribution in GDP. But if we look at the labor force dependent on service sector is only 31%. So this is the mismatch in the Indian economy. In the last lecture we had discussed. In the last lecture also we have discussed the GDP by components. These are the components. So 59.1% household consumption contributing to GDP. So we can say the Indian economies Indian economy have the sustainable demand, internal demand, we can say, because household consumption contributing 59.1% in the GDP. So investment in fixed capital is also at the second place. Import export is also contributing to the GDP at export contributes 19.1%, and here the minus 22% import is negatively contributing. So we have a trade deficit, we can say here. Now today just have a look at the what is the state of agricultural and allied activities, and then we are going to see industrial sectors and in details, and in after that human development sector also we are going to discuss. So the growth of agricultural sector has been fluctuating. It increased from minus 0.2% in 2014-15 to 6.3% in 16-17, and then declined to 2.8% in 2019-20. So you can compare here to in the 2014-15 it was 6.3% in 16-17, and it is now 2.8% in the last year in the 2019-20. So gross fixed capital formation in agriculture also decreased from 17.7% of gross value added in 2013-14 to 15% point 15.2%. in 2017-18. So it is agricultural capital formation declined from 17.7% to 15.2% in the recent period. The contribution of agriculture to the gross value added has decreased from 18.2% to 16.5% from 2014-15 to 2019-20. The decline was mainly due to decrease in share of gross value added of crops from 11.2% to 10% from 2014-15 to 2017-18. The share has been declining on account of relatively higher growth performance of non-agricultural sectors. So doubling farmers' income is announced in recently in the budgets by finance minister. It requires addressing issues such as access to credit, easy access to credit, insurance coverage, because natural calamities are continuously in are there in agricultural sector. So a lot of investment and basic infrastructure is required in agricultural sector to double the farmers income. So there are some problems or issues relating to insurance, crop insurance also. Farmers are now not paying that premium for crop insurance, because insurance companies are not providing insurance to many farmers. So there are a lot of complaints of farmers relating to that. So India has relatively lower farm mechanization which needs to be addressed. So the we can say in the second year we have seen the Levy's model of unlimited supply. We have discussed that unlimited supply of labor transferred to industrial sector. So it is Levy's model. So it is actually we are experiencing in the Indian economy. So there is the shortage of labor in the rural sector, and the efficiency of mechanization means if we use the machines and modern technology in the agricultural sector, the time will save and the efficient agricultural activities can be done. So India has relatively lower farm mechanization compared to other developed economies. Further, the food processing sector requires more focused attention, as it can play an important role in reducing post-harvest losses and aid the creation of an additional market for farm. So there are a lot of post-harvest losses. There is need of food processing sector to develop, because the uh, locally created raw materials by agricultural sector should be processed at that level. So if the locally produced resources raw material get produced, then farmers can get higher value for their production. So it is needed at war footing. Next sector, let us discuss. Next important sector, we called it secondary sector, that is industry and infrastructure. We are just taking, or we are just looking at the picture of what at what place or at what level that particular sector uh, has the particular picture of development. The industry and finance, the overall industrial sector growth is estimated to be 2.5% in 2019-20 as compared to 6.9% growth in 2018-19. In 2000, you can see how much it is declining. In 2018-19, share of the industrial sector in gross value added was 29.6%. Index of industrial production, that is we called it IIP, is 0.6% during 2019-20 April November. You can see how much it is declining. So industrial sector, manufacturing sector has a major declining trend recently. Manufacturing activities were subdued due to a decrease in domestic demand for key sectors such as automotive and pharmaceuticals. So due to this COVID situation, it has a very declining effect on every sector. We have discussed that 23% negative growth rate is there. Export of labor intensive sectors such as jewelry, basic metals, leather and textile also underperformed during the current financial year. Liquidity crunch is there due to reduced lending by NBFC also had an adverse impact on this sector. The National Infrastructure Pipeline NIP has projected an investment in this sector of rupees 100 lakh crore over 5 years, 2020 to 25, in various projects. So this is the one hope that for this sector to revive from its declining trend. So National Infrastructure Pipeline policy has prepared by Government of India to revive this sector by investing 100 lakh crores in the next 5 years. Now look at the service sectors. Service sector is estimated to grow at 6.9% in 2019-20 as compared to 7.5% in 2018-19. This sector is estimated to contribute about 55.3% to India's gross value added in 2019-20. Currently, the service sector accounts for over 50% of the gross state value added in 15 state and union territories. So service sectors is contributing much more in Indian GDP. Subsectors such as trade, hotels, transportation, communication, and services related to broadcasting, financial and real estate services saw a deceleration during this period. The share of services exports in overall export of India has been increasing. So export of services contributing more in India's GDP. India's share in the world's commercial services export was 3.5% in 2018, twice in the share in the world's mercantile export at 1.7%. So this was the general picture of service sector. Now look at the human development and employment. India ranks in the Human Development Index was 129 in 2018. uh, so expenditure on social services including health education increased by 1.5%, but there is much more need is there to spend on health sector. Only 1.5% we are spending on GDP. Out of pocket expenditure as a percentage of total health expenditure declined from 60.4.2% in 2013-14 to 58.7% in 2016-17. So health expenditure declining out of total consumption expenditure by people. The gross enrollment ratio at secondary and higher education level need improvement. So government has announced new education policy, but the gross enrollment ratio is at a secondary and higher secondary level is very low compared to other developed economy. So three important factors are there to increase human development, that is health, education and um living span, that is the life expectancy, it is also again depend on health sector. And third is the per capita income. So automatically when growth rate will increase, per capita income will also increase. Total formal employment in the economy increased from 8% in 2011-12 to 10% in 2017-18. So employment in formal sector is very slowly increasing, but population rate increasing at very faster. During the 2011 to 2018 period, 2.62 crores new jobs were created among regular wages salaried employees, but the population increased much more than the female participation in the labor workforce declining. It is very bad sign of the any economy, especially in the rural areas. Means labor female labor participation should increase actually in any economy. So let us discuss next is export of network product for job creation. Export of network products can contribute a quarter of the increase in value added required for making India $5 trillion economy by 2020-25. A network product refer to the product where production occur across the global value chain operated by multinational corporations. So export of network product means the production created by multinational corporations at global level. So this can be achieved by integrating assemble in India for the world in the Make in India initiative. This can create 4 crore well paid jobs by 2025 and 8 crore jobs by 2030s. But now the this $5 trillion economies became a dream because of COVID effect, and we are now discussing how much every sector is declining, and due to every economy is suffering from very bad, it is going through very bad situation due to coronavirus or COVID-19. So have a look at the banking sector. India's banking sector is disproportionately underdeveloped given the size of its economy. So compared to developed economy, India's banking sector is underdeveloped. Uh, the if we take into account the size of its size in the economy compared to other developed economies, India has only one bank in the global top 100. Maybe it's SBI, State Bank of India. Public sector banks account for 70% of the market share in Indian banking. However, on various performance parameters, public sector banks are inefficient as compared to private banks. So, private banks are more efficient compared to public sector banks. Non-performance assets problem is there also in the public sector banks. So, public sector banks are 70% market share, but public sector banks are inefficient. So we can say 70% of banking sector is inefficient. Uh, Compared to that, private sector banks are efficient. The recent survey suggests that the use of financial technology across all banking functions, employee stock ownership across all level to enhance efficiencies public sector banks. Means the survey suggests that the financial technology use of financial technology is important for uh, banking sector to increase its efficiency. A GSTN type of entity can be set up for use of big data artificial intelligence and machine learning on data from public sector banks for credit decisions. Such investment will be critical to ensure better screening and monitoring of large borrowers. So there are some cases recently happened that uh, there is not the better screening and monitoring of large borrowers, and public sector banks are losing their assets, or many borrowers are defaulting public sector banks assets. That is, we have seen recently the examples of Vijay Mallya, Nirav Modi. They have that issues raised in public sector banks. So the survey is suggesting that the investment is very critical to ensure better screening and monitoring of large borrowers in the banking sector. The big data, they are suggesting that to create the entity for use of big data, artificial intelligence can be used, machine learning on data from PSBs, public sector banks, for credit decision can be used. So this was the banking sectors. So friends, that much in this today's lecture. We have just taken the overview of different key sectors of the economy. If you have any queries, questions, please text me or mail me. Uh, Write your name in the comment box and roll number in the comment box so that I will get your attendance. Thank you. See you in the next lecture.